The industrial safety movement in Japan marked its 100th year in 2011. Taking the path to modernization more than 1 century behind Western industrial countries, Japan pursued a capitalist economy quickly under the slogans of increase wealth and military power and encourage new industry. As a result, the country was transformed into a modern industrial state in a very short period of time. At the core of the emerging Meiji industries were mining, steel, and textile industries, including spinning and filature. However, workers of this era were working under wretched conditions. In 1911, at the end of the Meiji era, the Factory Act, the first labor legislation of Japan aimed at worker protection, was enacted in the Imperial Diet. It wasn't until the era changed from Meiji to Taisho that an industrial safety movement crystallized as organized activities at workplaces in Japan.
"日本の安全運動がこの地から始まったことは私どもの誇りでもあります。
In 1912, the first year of Taisho, Masayuki Odagawa of Furukawa Mining brought back the concept of safety first from the United States, which he saw advocated in American industry. Odagawa introduced the phrase safety first and held up signs with the phrase in the Ashio copper mine. He also compiled and distributed safety leaflets to promote safety in the plant. This was the first step in the industrial safety movement in Japan. Later, Toshifumi Gamo and Kiichi Miura left a major mark on the industrial safety movement as pioneers in eastern and western Japan, respectively. It was fatal accidents in their respective factories in 1973 that opened their eyes to the safety movement. At that time, the so-called Taisho democracy made progress. With an upsurge of liberal trends, the campaign for a popular election, and a labor movement. In this context, Kakichi Uchida appeared as another pioneer. Uchida also encountered the idea of safety first in the United States 4 years after Masayuki Odagawa did, and was deeply impressed. Elbert Henry Gary, who was the president of U.S. Steel, the world's top steel company at the time, was distressed by a string of accidents in the workplace. He changed the management policy to safety first, quality second, and production third. Because the change drastically decreased industrial accidents while at the same time improved both quality and production, the slogan "Safety First" spread all over the U.S. After returning to Japan, Uchida translated the slogan into Japanese and tried to propagate the idea in the country. This is the origin of the slogan "Safety First" that has been passed down until now. However, the safety movement faced resistance in many forms before becoming established. Supported by the enthusiasm of people like Gamo, Mimura, and Uchida, the safety movement gradually spread as a social movement beyond personal aspiration or activities in some workplaces. Thanks to the efforts of Gamo, Uchida, and others, the first Safety Week was held in 1919, though only in Tokyo. Beyond the industrial circle, women's associations, schools, police, retail stores, and people of many other fields participated in the event, which made headlines. The green crossmark was adopted as the symbol of safety at that time at Gamo's proposal. The Industrial Welfare Association was born as a nationwide umbrella organization for coordination and cooperation with local industry associations. Gamo took the office of director and contributed to its newsletter with enthusiasm. In the early years of the Showa era, every form of an industrial safety movement started to develop. First, Japan became the first country in the world to turn its Safety Week into a national event. Safety Week has been continued from 1928 until today without interruption. Around this time, there was an upsurge in the safety movement, with some workplaces starting to make active efforts to prevent industrial accidents. The Industrial Welfare Association held the first National Industrial Safety Convention at Gakushikaikan, Tokyo, in November 1932. This is the precursor to today's National Industrial Safety and Health Convention. However, since the outbreak of the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937, social conditions took on a wartime look in Japan, and safety and health movements drifted into a dark period of stagnation, which was followed by Japan's defeat. Just after the defeat, democratization measures taken by GHQ in rapid succession brought about a revolution in the politics and culture of Japan. The Labor Standard Act was enacted as an epoch-making worker protection act, replacing the Factory Act. In 1950, Dr. Walter of the United States visited Japan and offered many suggestions for safety activities in Japan here. At that time, the accident frequency rate of major industries in Japan was more than 10 times that of the U.S. The Korean War in 1950 generated special demands in Japan. With the demands, the Japanese economy started to show signs of recovery. A new safety movement in a new era flowered at last. The Safety Liaison Committee of 6 steel companies was established in 1950. Members started to visit each other for safety inspections. After 5 years, accident frequency rates were greatly reduced to about 1/10 of what they had been before. This voluntary initiative by the steel companies that were the leading companies of Japan at the time showed the ideal direction for the post-war safety movement, with a significant impact on other industries. Shipbuilding, cement, automobiles, ammonium sulfate and alkali, private railways, construction, metal, mining, coal, and other industries also started to engage in the safety movement. Partly influenced by mandatory assignment of a health supervisor based on the Labor Standards Act, there were vigorous movements also in the field of industrial health. no longer termed post-war. The expression was used in the Economic White Paper for fiscal year 1956. Starting from the mid-50s, Japan moved on the path of unprecedented high growth based on technological innovations. During this period, new raw materials, methods, and equipment were introduced one after another. However, the introductions brought about new occupational diseases at the same time. Industrial accidents rapidly increased, peaking at 480,000 casualties, with 6,712 deaths in 1961, when catastrophes occurred sequentially. As downsides of technological innovation and industrial progress were highlighted, both public and private sectors waged a battle with industrial accidents. In 1964, when the new Tokaido Line started service and the Tokyo Olympic Games were held, the Japan Industrial Safety and Health Association, JICA, and Industrial Safety and Health Associations of individual industries were established, with the aim of promoting voluntary industrial accident prevention activities by entrepreneurs. Industrial accidents remained flat at a high level throughout the late 1970s. What caused a breakthrough in the situation was the Industrial Safety and Health Act that was established in 1972 to promote the comprehensive and systematic implementation of accident prevention measures. At that time, there were many questions and oppositions to the enactment of the act dedicated to safety and health independent from the existing Labor Standard Act. In this context, the Industrial Safety and Health Forum of the industry leaders greatly contributed to the legislation. The Occupational Safety and Health Education Center opened in 1973 and commenced an RST course to foster trainers who educate foremen. Since then, foreman education in the workplace has steadily spread. This was also an era to consolidate the basis of safety control in the industries during the high economic growth period by improving safety of machinery, enhancing safety control systems, and spreading all participating type safety activities for workers. It started from a scientific approach, namely intrinsic safety, which is hardware devices to prevent accidents, even with machinery failure or human error. Next, we witnessed breaking away from leaving safety control entirely up to staff and moving toward developing a line of safety control, where the head of production sites plays a central role in safety promotion. In the workplace culture of Japan, the concept of objectives management introduced from the United States developed into small group activities to achieve targets with all workers participating. The field of safety control activities saw the rise of a movement to change the mentality to abiding by what the group decides. In 1973, JICA advocated the Zero Accident campaign under the slogan of total participation towards zero accidents. During this period, when the QC Circle and other voluntary small group activities were penetrating workplaces, the Zero Accident campaign was promoted across the nation, accompanied by the introduction of KYT, accident prediction training, and pointing and calling methods. In the 10 years following the enactment of the Industrial Safety and Health Act in 1972, casualties with 4 or more days of absence from work decreased by 25%, while deaths decreased by half. Since the oil crisis in 1973, Japan moved from the long, high economic growth period to the stable growth period, which was accompanied by big changes in the industrial structure. In manufacturing, the so-called miniaturization-oriented industry, including microelectronics, or ME, made a big leap. With the surging waves of technological innovation led by the ME revolution, industrial robots were rapidly introduced to manufacturing floors, while automation advanced in offices. On the other hand, however, there was a fatal accident caused by an industrial robot, which was talked about as the robot murder case, and health problems of VDT workers came under close scrutiny. Around 1980, the ratio of workers in the tertiary industry, including services, grew to nearly 60%. In addition, the labor force population rapidly aged, and new health management for elderly workers was advanced. The approach became more proactive, shifting from early detection of occupational diseases to health promotion to prevent falling ill. This concept developed into the Total Health Promotion Plan, THP. The movement evolved into really total health promotion, including mental health, for both middle-aged and young people. After 1989, the Heisei era. During the period that is also called the lost 2 decades, social and industrial structures and working patterns greatly changed against the background of the rapid progress of IT introduction and globalization of economic activities. In the current era, when many people are very stressed and anxious, mental health care in the workplace is very important. In recent years, the wave of globalization has also reached the field of safety and health management. OSHMS and risk assessment, which is its central method, have become the international standard of safety management. Chemical substance control based on the GHS, globally harmonized system of classification and labeling, United Nations recommendations, and the comprehensive machinery safety standard based on strict risk assessment have also become global trends. Meanwhile, industrial accidents steadily decreased. In the 20 years following the first year of the Heisei era, 1989, both fatal accidents and casualty accidents with 4 or more days of absence from work decreased by half. Fatal accidents in particular fell to 1/6 compared with 1961, more than 50 years earlier when fatal accidents hit the worst record. In this context, opportunities to learn directly from accidents have become rarer, which brought about the challenge of how to relate experiences of accidents and disasters, and how to pass down the experiences and the knowledge of accidents and disasters to the next generation. In this context, an increasing number of workplaces are helping workers acquire a sense of danger through simulated experience of a disaster. We should reliably pass on the safety efforts of the past to the future. The Great East Japan earthquake caused unprecedented damage. Efforts for restoration and reconstruction are moving ahead at a fast pace in workplaces in the affected areas.
悪条件の中で社員は一生懸命復興作業に当たっています。その中で特に注意をしているのは、朝来た時と同じ状態で自宅に帰っていただく。これを安全と考え、社員には
愛するふるさとの復興のために社員とともに頑張っていきます。
The industrial safety and health movement in Japan marked its 100th year in 2011. It is our responsibility to pass on safety and health practices and improvements to the next generation and for the next 100 years.
山は緑に、災害はゼロに。
ゼロ歳でいこう。よし。
ゼロ歳でいこう。よし。
それでは皆さん、ご安全に。ゼロ歳でいこう。よし。ゼロ歳でいこう。よし。
今日も一日ご安全に。
Dear friends, my warmest greetings to you as you mark the centennial year of the occupational safety and health movement in Japan. First, I take this opportunity to convey once more our heartfelt sympathy to all those who have suffered in the wake of the disasters which hit the northeast region of Japan in March this year. Your friends all over the world are confident that the people of Japan, with characteristic courage, strength, and solidarity, will soon recover and come back stronger. Dear friends, the ILO's decent work agenda underscores the importance of the quantity but also the quality of work. It is an agenda that respects human dignity as well as the need for productivity and enterprise development. Tripartite Japan has given strong support to this agenda nationally, and it is also actively supporting decent work initiatives elsewhere. As you know well, prevention of accidents and diseases at work, protecting human life at work is imperative. That's what you're all about. As the celebration illustrates, Japan has been a leader in promoting this goal. And it was not surprising that Japan was the first country to ratify the ILO's promotional framework for Occupational Safety and Health Convention number 187 in 2007. This convention stresses the development and promotion of a national preventive safety and health culture. And your accumulated practical experience will provide a sturdy foundation for occupational safety and health promotion in Japan. Japan can also play a valuable role in sharing its experience with others and promoting business models and programs based on the full and active participation of social partners in a constructive dialogue. We look forward to reinforcing our collaboration with Japan in our common commitment to promoting safe and decent work for all. Thank you so much, and I wish you a very successful Centennial.